This game has absolutely no right to work as well as it does. Like, every time I saw this game in prototype form and at conventions, I was just in awe of the fact that what it's trying to do actually works. Because when you see it on the table, you just have this feeling of like, there's no way that that is going to continue and never break. But it does. And it's amazing. This is Leaf. It's published by Weird City Games. It is designed by Tim Eisner. He's also the designer of Tidal Blades and Wonderland's War. And this is a review copy that we requested because, again, I've been seeing this game come along for a couple years at conventions, and I saw it go from like hand cut out leaves to like really high production prototype to then the actual production copies at conventions earlier this year. So when they sent out the call for reviews, I was like, hey, I've been telling you for like 2 years that once you have review copies, we definitely want to get our hands on one because this game is so beautiful and so elegant and so it's just amazing. So the goal of the game, it's you're placing leaves in the forest floor in order to take actions based on what your leaf tips are touching. And you are going to be placing these leaves. It's going to grow. It's going to get really pretty. It's always going to work. It's, again, it feels like with the number of different shapes there that it's, again, eventually it's just going to break, and it doesn't. And I know like the leaves are designed around hexagons, so the geometry works, but it's so well executed. And I know that a lot of work went into picking the kinds of leaves and the shapes of leaves so that it just feels almost like magic when you put that leaf in there and it just works. So let's get into how the game actually plays. On your turn, you're going to play a leaf card from your hand. You're going to take a leaf and you're going to place it into the forest floor. And all of the leaf tips that the tips on your leaf are touching are going to let you take an action. Ultimately, your goal is to score points by moving up the tree, by growing mushrooms in the leaves on the forest floor, and by putting animals away into your winter den. So as you place leaves into the forest floor, the leaves that you're touching are going to be actions that you're able to take. Not the leaf that you're placing, only the leaf that you're touching. And every player is going to place a leaf and then take the associated actions, and then it's going to be to the next player's turn. It's a very fast-moving, smooth-moving game with, I believe there are 5 different actions you can take. There's some strategic decisions along the way as far as moving the sun token and gaining the bonuses for that, but also potentially triggering the end of the game. But it's a very smooth playing, quick playing game. But there's a lot of different choices that you can make that are going to set you up for success or for failure. And it's one of those games that there's multiple different ways that you can score points, but you're going to have to pick one. You're not going to do well in everything. And it doesn't overstay its welcome. It's a game that ends feeling like, oh, I wish I had had a couple more turns, but also not like, oh, this game was 2 turns too short. It's a really nice balance where you want more and you want to be able to do more, but you don't feel like some games just feel like when they end, like, oh, we were just like, I was just getting things going and it feels like it ended too soon. This ends in a nice way where there's different ways to end the game. So it may feel like it ends too soon in some games, but overall in the games we've played, it ends nicely where it's like, I should have focused more on this. I wish I had a few more turns to do things, but I'm happy with what I was able to do. So on your turn, you're going to play a leaf card into the discard pile, and you're going to take the top leaf from the stack and you're going to place it into the forest floor. So I'm going to play a ginkgo leaf here. I'm going to take the top ginkgo leaf, which is red, which is going to allow other players to do mushroom actions in the future. And I'm going to put it in here, and I want to find where it can go. Like I could put it right there and I'd get 1, 2, 3 actions for it. But I'm going to put it right here because mushrooms are really important to the game. So again, when you place a leaf, you need the tips of your leaf to touch the tips of other leaves. You only get action points for the tips. not for the side of your leaves. It's only the tips that are touching the tips of your leaves. So for this, I'm going to get to take 2 animal actions and 2 mushroom actions. And the icons are printed on the leaves. There's the animal, there's a mushroom, there's a leaf action, there's a tree action, and there's the sun action. And you can also, if you have an additional card of that type, you can discard, you can play 2 matching cards in order to place a leaf or a mushroom onto the leaf that you're playing. And we'll talk about why mushrooms are important in just a minute. So I played a leaf here that's going to let me take 2 mushroom actions and 2 animal actions. Now the mushroom actions are to either place a new mushroom in the forest or to grow a mushroom that's already there. At the end of the game, you're only going to score for your big mushrooms, so you do want to, early on in the game, get mushrooms out and then grow them so that you can have good, powerful, high-scoring clusters. So for this, I'll take 2 actions, and let's say I'll go ahead and plant a mushroom right there, and then I'll grow one of my mushrooms that I have already in the forest floor. So that's my 2 mushroom actions. And then for my 2 animal actions, I am going to collect animals. I'm going to get to take 2 animal cards from the animal board over here. And I just want to point out, I did not play to this point in the game. I set it up. I think it got pretty close as far as accuracy of where the game would be. But this is all for example. This is not necessarily an accurate representation of where I would be at this state in the game. But I get 2 animal cards, so I'm going to take this card because I already have a crow like that. I already have a crow in my little tableau here, and then I don't have another one that matches, so I'll just go ahead and draw an owl. So now I have 3 different kinds of animals. I have 2 that I have multiples of, and that is the end of my turn. Now I do have the option, if I have 3 sun tokens, I can spend 3 sun tokens to advance the sun marker and to take the bonus on the one that I move it to. So we'll go ahead and do that. So I'm going to pay 3 sun tokens. I'm going to advance the sun marker, and I'm going to get 4 acorns for that. And acorns are points at the end of the game, so getting acorns is never a bad thing. And then it's the next player's turn. They're going to play cards. They're going to play a leaf. They're going to expand the forest floor. They're going to take the actions for whatever their tips are touching. And then it's going to be the next player's turn. Now, there are 5 different actions you can take. We just talked about the mushroom action and the animal action. You can also do the sun token action, which is just taking a sun token for each leaf tip on a yellow leaf that you're touching. The brown leaves let you take a tree action, which is, again, moving up in the tree 1 space for each leaf tip that it's touching. So if I were to, let's say, put this leaf right here, or can I get, yeah, that's much better right there. So again, there's different ways you can orient that are going to give you more things to do. So placing this leaf right here would get me 2 sun tokens, and it would move me up the tree 2 spaces. And you take the bonus for each space that you touch. So I go there, I'm going to get 2 acorns for that icon right there. And then I'm going to come up here, and that's going to let me draw a leaf card. And your leaf cards are face down because you don't want the other players to know what leaf cards you have. So that is the leaf action, the sun action, and the tree action. And then we already covered the animal action and the mushroom action. That's all of the actions in the game. Those are the 5 things that you can do based on leaf powers. Now, when another player plays a leaf next to the mushroom that you have, you're going to get a sun token if you have the largest mushroom on the leaves that are touched. So if I were to place this leaf right here, then, or if another player, because it doesn't, you don't get the mushroom bonus when you place the leaves. So if another player placed this leaf right here, we're going to look at the mushrooms on the leaves that that leaf is touching. My orange mushroom is right here. It is larger. You can see that is the smaller version of that mushroom. So I would get a sun token for this leaf being placed there. That's, as far as the core of the game goes, that's the flow of the game. Players are going to play their leaf tokens. They're going to place them in the forest floor, do the actions, go on to the next player, and you refill the animal market at the end of your turn. Now, when the sun token advances past a frost line, every player is going to move 1 type of animal into their winter den. You're going to be able to do that up to 3 times per game because there's 3 frost lines. You can either move more of an animal that you already have in your den, or you can move a new animal into your den. So let's say we cross this frost line. I could move these turtles down into there, and now they are set up to score at the end of the game. The game goes on until either a player advances past the winter line or until the third pile of leaves is depleted, and at that point you take an equal number of turns, so you get back around to the starting player, and then the game ends and you're going to score. Now, every player is going to have a little reference sheet, the reference little card here, and these are really well designed. It's a perfectly designed reference card because you have your gameplay reference there, and then on the back of the card you have your scoring reference. So you're going to flip this over and you're going to score. The player who is highest in the tree is going to get 6 acorns. The player who is second highest is going to get 3. Then you're going to score for groups of mushrooms. So there's some strategy involved in creating groups of mushrooms, but making multiple groups, because you're going to score based on the size of the grouping. If you only have one lone mushroom, and again, it's only large mushrooms. So if you have one lone large mushroom, you're going to score 1 acorn. For 2, you're going to score 3 acorns. For 3, you're going to score 8. And then for 4 or more, you're going to just get 1 additional acorn. So 3 is 8, 4 is 9, 5 is only 10. So you're going to score all of your different groups of mushrooms. And again, those are only for big mushrooms. So right here, that's only 3 points. But if I was able to take a mushroom action and flip this over, that's going to score me 8 points. And if I was able to get this one flipped over too, that's 9 points. Now your winter den, you're going to score same as the mushrooms. It's based on how many of each animal type you have. 1 point for 1, 3 points for 2, 6 points for 3. So getting a group of 3 animals is really, really valuable. And then again, 4 or more, you're going to get 1 point each after that. And then you also check your sun tokens and leftover leaf cards. You get 1 point for each 2 of those, and you can combine them. If you have 1 sun token and 1 leaf card, you can combine those and get a point for that. And then you count up all of your acorns that you got from scoring and that you earned through the game, and whoever has the most acorns wins. It is a beautifully simple, but really elegantly and well-designed game. It flows really smoothly. There's a lot of different things that you can do to really think about, again, because your points aren't based on, or because your actions aren't based on the leaf that you're playing, it's based on where you're going in the forest. It's really, there's a lot of strategy to where specifically you place your leaves, because I could take this one here, and if I'm able to get it right there, that's going to get you 1, 2, 3, 4 different actions from 3 different leaves. And again, even coming across here, let's see if I don't think I can get it to fit over there. But there are, every once in a while, you'll run into this just perfect scenario where you're able to get 5 or 6 different actions and across 3 different leaves that hopefully do different things. And it's really satisfying to kind of play with it and find that placement that gives you a really great set of actions that are going to score you a bunch of points. Now, something that I do need to shout out about this game, because it goes in, obviously, it is a nature theme, and the designers, the publishers obviously cared a lot about the sustainability of their production. Now, we did an ASMR unboxing of this game, so you can see this game unboxed and then fully reboxed, but there is not a lick of plastic in this game anywhere. But the organization, like you hear no plastic and you think, oh, bad organization. No, the organization is great. It has 5 boxes that all fit together in the box so that nothing can move around. Each of the sets of mushroom tokens comes in its own little box. So each player, when you set up, is going to get a box of mushrooms. The sun tokens come in a box, and these just fit right back in there. They fit in really well. They fit in really snugly. The cards have a space, like even the cards came wrapped in a paper ring. The cards go in here. They fit nice and snug. And then all of the leaves, it tells you which ones to put where, but the leaves fit in this box really nice and smooth. Nothing is moving around and shaking around in the box, but it is fully sustainable packaging. It's all cardboard. There's no plastic. There's no excess. There's no, even in the punch outs, they were really efficient. Obviously with punch outs, you're going to have some waste, but the waste in the production of this game is minimal. And I really appreciate them. Like the little circle things. I guess this is the only plastic in the game, is the circle adhesive circles on the edges. It wasn't shrink wrapped. It came with the little circle things. Those come off without leaving too much of a mark. But again, from a sustainability standpoint, This game was really, obviously, fully thought out through how could they make the best possible product with having the least environmental impact from the materials that they use. So I really appreciate that. I know that's important to them, and I just have to say that they did a really good job executing that vision in the game. There is a solo mode. I haven't played it, so I can't speak to that. But as far as our experience with the game, it's really straightforward. Took about 10 or 15 minutes to make it through the rule book, to learn it. Because of how well the organization is, it packs up really easily and it comes out very quickly to the table. The only thing is there's no individual containers for the different types of acorn tokens, so you do have to separate those out. But other than that, the sun tokens have their own container. All of the mushrooms have their own container. It plays really smoothly. It comes to the table quickly. It has a fantastic table presence. The colors are vibrant. The game is beautiful. It is, again, the amount of time that went into making this interlocking leaf thing works is just, it's so well executed. Like, I can see the vision. I go back to where I saw this 2 years ago, and it was just like, oh, that's really cool. I'm excited to see how this develops. And now seeing it on the table, it's just so well done and such a gorgeous game, such a simple game, but also one that has a ton of little strategic decisions to be made. And it's going to be different every time because you're not playing with the board. You're playing with interlocking leaves. Now, they do have starting leaves that they suggest in your first couple games, that you start with those on the top of the stacks so that you have certain actions coming out first. But once you're comfortable with it, if you want a little bit harder game, you can just randomize each stack so that there's the way that they're stacked in there is random. These two leaves here are the starting leaves. You're always going to start with those two, with that orange leaf and that green leaf in that orientation. But other than that, it's the randomness of the cards that you draw and the way that the leaf piles are stacked. As far as downtime, there's very little downtime in between turns because the board is constantly changing. So as other players play their leaves in, you have to think about which card you're going to play, which leaf you're going to play, and where you're going to put it. So there's always something to be thinking about. And because the turns are so short and move so quickly, there's just very little downtime. You're always able to be engaged in the game and be thinking about what you want to do next, which I really appreciate, especially when you're playing with family and younger kids. Having a game that carries really well and that gives you something to do in between turns, or at least something to be thinking about, is always welcome. As far as family accessibility, we played this with the whole family, not Emma, but we played with Jared and Peyton, who were 10 and 14. They had no problem picking it up. I think one of them even won at least one of the games, but it was very competitive throughout, even with a range of player ages. So yeah, this is Leaf. Gorgeous game. It's going to be coming to retail soon. I believe right now the Kickstarter is fulfilling, and then it'll hit retail. If this speaks to you, if this looks like something you would enjoy, I highly encourage you seeking it out. It is a fantastic game. As soon as it is available, we'll leave links below to where you can find that. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'm happy to answer. I hope you get this game to your table at some point in the future if this is your kind of game, because it's just absolutely fantastic. So thank you so much for watching. Again, if you have any questions, leave me a comment. And until next time, see you later. Bye.